You're listening to a replay of Zach and Evan on ZRadioLive.
It's the website music station. It's Z Radio Live. This is Zach and Evan, and we're joined by Alkawther. She is an author. Alkawther, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Pleased to
Awesome.
be here. Thank you for having me.
So you struggled to read and write in your childhood years, and now you're as an author of 2 books. What led you to take this leap and make the achievement possible?
Having to struggle academically in my childhood led me to acquire a personality larger than the life surrounding me. I had this emotional intensity, reasoning, and image much too peculiar for my peers. Blending in was like the jarring, screeching, ear-splitting noise of nails on a chalkboard. Undeniably, my true colors could break any silence, had a language of its own, like the clear, tranquil waves crashing amongst the gray rocks at shore. I was a voiceless child who, ironically, could bring fight and fury to any challenge, and that I made very evident on the field. Moreover, my name, so outlandish, almost all could never pronounce, earned it a stature of mystery, and so who, what, when, where, why, and how were questions often asked, ones that I could never articulate in writing, yet yearned to know. The colors of life that designated me from the rest is why I persisted, a thrust of knowledge for my future works, professing the deep feelings of antiquities that once evoked me, prompted me to want to become a multifaceted author so that I could teach the power of the language of life.
So what were some of the early experiences where you learned that language had power?
An early experience where I learned that language had power was the significant contrast of words that surrounded me and the way negative words affected my mental and physical performance. Although the words spoken were not mine, I learned to use them wisely, structured myself in a circumvent fort, a powerhouse of positivity no matter the circumstances. Most importantly, there was this intrinsic belief I was unique, special, worthy, and much capable to succeed, which led me to value moral ethics, truth, kindness, a greater good, a passion to speak to the masses through works that are diverse and can move the world. The focus was a defiance to transform the darkness into a positive mental and physical driving force, and that is evident in my first book.
Oh, awesome. Well, how do you hide any secrets in your book that only a few people will find?
Unspoken revivalism shares dynamic, bolstering secrets that influence the reader. It is equipped to challenge the reader to think critically and reason with logic. The poetry leans mysterious through its extensive vocabulary, figures of speech, and tells short stories that are fiction or nonfiction in nature. In addition, these secrets are more commonly brought to fruition through electrifying or emotionally difficult scenes.
Well, I want to go back a little bit here. How did publishing your first book change the process of your writing?
When I published my first book, Unspoken Revivalism, I realized that my poetry had a sui generis style, that of which reflected the very details of my childhood adversity. My complex mind, curious nature, experience of the darkness, yet love for the light were substances I combined to create a non-puerile poetry, composing works of belles lettres that unites all things in beauty, an educational textbook not yet seen by the mainstream, one that merges reality with secrets of the unseen world.
What was the most difficult scene or literary work to write?
The most difficult literary piece to write was a poem I gave much thought to its title, Empowered by Struggles. Empowered by Struggles is a true story, a moment in time, a memory that shares a unique perspective in how weakness can become greatness by anticipating the future. Not only does this poem speak to the masses, it also bridges emotion and intellect, uses personification as physical stature to emphasize mental health.
How many unpublished or half-published books do you have?
I have 8 unpublished books. I'd like to complete in my collection of Language of Life, which would consist of 10 total, uh, which will be, and 2 of those will be published before the end of 2021. The next is a new genre, a recipe book, which brings a unique flavor of enthusiasm and fun culinary notes that can also keep up with a fast-paced world.
Did you anticipate writing a healthy book? Sorry, did you? Let me write it again. Excuse me. Did you anticipate writing a health book, and what propelled you your second book, Smarter, Cleaner, Leaner?
At first, I did not anticipate writing a health book. However, I was a young phenom athlete who believed in proper form, structure, and nurturing from within to build endurance and stamina. Still, I was battling health issues, and so I started to research ways to improve my performance as well as my mental well-being. To help and heal others to create a clean world became a fascination through a lifestyle combining mind, body, practice that is smarter, cleaner, and leaner, what I call the brain health conscientious superhuman approach. Also, a philosophy relative to my incentives, which integrates superior health and superior mind. Finally, this ideology motivates me to expand on other genres and publish exceptional works to empower individuals.
Do you want each book to stand on its own platform, or are you trying to build a body of work with connections between each book?
Each book is strong enough to take its own platform, is built superlative in the industry. The future recipe book is meant to accommodate the health book because it follows the superhuman approach. Additionally, all 10 books will be connected in some fascinating, extraordinary way, will be purpose driven, and used to enhance various areas of life with morals, lessons, life goals, tools, and resources to face real world challenges.
Writers tend to have a strong suit. On the other hand, what would you consider your writing kryptonite?
I think I have found a way for my writing kryptonite to serve a positive purpose, like the way venom can cure a disease. My greatest struggle and weakness as a writer would be that my most scholarly ideas tend to come to me as I am falling asleep, and therefore I can pull an all-nighter more frequently than not, especially if I feel it is an idea that deserves a substantial spot in the world of literature. Consequently, I tend to be caught in this trap of lacking sleep. And while sleep is essential to good thought, the choices we make can change the world, enhance our surroundings, or deal with the repercussions of not taking action. So the way I see it is if I were to fall asleep, my idea would perhaps travel 100 years in time until another writer inhabits the art of its existence because I did not take the initiative to take charge. In essence, I do my very best not to subject myself to weakness or fall in any traps.
What are the most common traps for aspiring writers?
The publishing industry comes with unethical practices that a writer has to be vigilant of. The most common traps for aspiring writers would be being persuaded by a company who seeks to publish your work on the merits of monetizing their business, can fool the author in making changes to their work, alters their initial purpose, and restricts an everlasting morale. This is how an author loses originality because their altered book serves inauthentic, instills uncertainty in the reader, and stunts potential influence. Hence, quality and context are both compromised in the marketing arena.
Why do you, sorry, what do you believe is the best way to market a book?
The best way for an author to market a book is to remain stalwart, remain authentic, true to your ethos, finish what you start, and practice what you preach. It is important to avoid manipulations from the publishing industry because if you want to lead readers, you have to walk alongside with them, be one of them, embrace real world stories, empathize, and check your ego.
Does a big ego help or hurt a writer, and what does literary success look like to you?
Ego is an attribute to be balanced because it is foundational to have a solid self-esteem, fundamental to value your ideas. On the other hand, you have to be open to other people's critique, read reviews, and humble enough to evaluate or merit another person's opinion as a key consideration to make improvements if necessary, because knowledge is meant to be spread and collaborated. Literary success is a proprietary work, one that doesn't follow the mainstream, and one that can positively impact a child, change a child's life far into adulthood. It's the reason childhood stories are treasured, the emotion it stirs, the lesson taught. It plays a part in a person's development, no matter large or small.
What is your favorite childhood book, and how is it still important today?
My favorite childhood book was a collection of the Bernstein Bears. Its motto is embedded in my mind even to this day. Make the best of what today has to offer. This offering transmitted a moral value I live by, and to me, that says finding beauty in all things that have the potential to be great things. These life perspectives serve as a vantage point that will lead you to various places in the world, a pilgrimage to expand on an inner beauty by the people or books that influenced you.
What literary pilgrimages have you gone on to seek or discover?
I have a deep curiosity to discover a beauty beyond sight and sound, one that takes my soul to greater heights. The Acropolis is the paragon of Greek philosophy, embodies the significance of the highest point. Philosophies that profess a love for liberty, desire for equality, a need for courage, a will for high intention and choice, a responsibility for our children is a substructure, one that can analyze literature and art with architecture, because great writers are like great architects. In particular, ancient Greece is a place I am yet to discover, a place where I can submerge, feel the essence of antiquity beyond what the eyes can see or what we hear.
Is there a time, place, or person who has inspired you or impacted your life?
Bruce Lee to a man in a wheelchair are people who have inspired me, greatly influenced my perception on the potential of humanity, the type of inclination of what or who determines a champion, what or who can prevail when all odds are against them, what or who can change your life. For example, an unexpected person seen to be physically limited can motivate you, the pro athlete, to greater heights. It doesn't always have to be somebody well known or famous. Now, imagine this. My illustration depicts a man in a wheelchair in the field and a pro athlete running on track. As she nears the finish line, the man in the wheelchair sprints toward the outer field, propels his hands and wheels in vigor motion, attempts to lift his upper body as it allows, and raises his left hand, index finger with his slurred speech, yet so uplifting, says, "One more." That is the inspiration, the beauty in all things, how brain-injured patients have the ability to reinvent their lives.
What would you like to tell people who are trying to reform and reinvent their lives?
The moral of the novel, The Giver, tells us that life is not complete without both good and bad experiences. It is paramount to transform negative energy and control what passes through your circumvent fort, to steer your surroundings and compass the obstacles in your life, because resilience in the face of adversity is a vital component in who you are today and who you aspire to be. The best challenge that ever happened to me was that I had to face childhood adversity. The fact that reading and writing was my greatest weakness is the very reason it is my greatest strength today. I often think, without struggle and disparity, what would have propelled my masterpieces that make a profound impact in the world of literature? For this reason, I tell you to rise up through the difficulty of the pain, because you do not want to live with the pain of giving up. Finally, you need to trust yourself and take charge, because that pain, that challenge could just be the best thing that ever happened to you, and it will make the story of your life an unforgettable one.
Alkawther, thanks so much for hopping on here. Where can people find you online?
You can find me at alkawthermotivation.com. There you'll find all my superlative works. And Alkawther Motivation is the breakaway motivation platform that combines superior health and superior mind to help you aspire to greatness in your personal and professional life. Again, that's ALKAWTHERMOTIVATION.com.
Alkawther, thanks so much again for joining us here on Zach and Evan. More Zach and Evan coming up after this on Z Radio Live.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for this positive collaboration, and have a blessed day.
Miss the show? Catch Zach and Evan every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern on Z Radio Live.